Ladies and gentlemen, Gokus and Gokettes, Vegetas and Vegetinis. Guys, we finally made it. Over mountains of garbage and through oceans of shit. After waiting around for awkwardly paced motion tweens to finally end, we find ourselves on the precipice of mouth-watering, boner-bouncing, jump out of your bed at 3 a.m. screaming bloody murder awesomeness. Take a good look behind you at what we've gone through together, guys, because it's on to bigger and better things today. That's right. Call amazing, because this arc was fucking it. I'm totally not Mark, and these are the 10 best animated moments of Dragon Ball Super's Universe 6 arc. Number 10. Frost, you little rascal. Topping off our list comes one of many moments that made my inner fangirl go eee! Animated by Yukihiro Kitano, it might not be the most consistent entry, but this took me on an emotional roller coaster that I won't forget anytime soon. But I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let's break this mother down. After transforming into his assault form, Frost and Goku go toe-to-toe, leading to this tasty little cut where Frost tackles Goku through his own Kamehameha, which was such a sweet idea. Whoever thought of that deserves a medal, or cake. Give them cake! This then ultimately leads to Goku transforming into his regular blonde Super Saiyan form. Frost powers up in response and quickly zooms in to punch Goku as fast as he can, giving us just this sexy as fuck shot of Goku catching Frost's punch. This next part might not be solely animation centric, but it's interesting, so shush. When watching this episode for the first time, I enjoyed all this action, but I could never have predicted the way it was going to end. After dominating the entire fight with ease, Goku blocks what appears to be a flimsy punch from Frost. Seconds later, Goku suddenly loses his composure and then gets knocked out of the ring by Frost. Guys, on first viewing of this, I was completely floored. I mean, I was like, and then 2 minutes later I was all like, And I wasn't the only one. This sparked tons of conversation in the comment section of both Reddit and YouTube alike, discussing what exactly happened. By the time the next episode swung around, most had a decent grasp of what exactly was afoot, but many didn't want to believe it. Then Frost turned around and gave us this shot. This is the moment for Frost in the tournament, I think. That moment you realize he was playing all of us this whole time. Ooh, Frost, you cold customer. Number 9. Piccolo versus Frost. My heart, having just recovered from the betrayal it received courtesy of Frost, comes this next entry in our countdown. Goku, having been eliminated, means that next up to fight on behalf of Universe 7 is Piccolo. Many of us watching this fight didn't think Piccolo had any realistic chance, and I for one was really impressed with how the writers orchestrated this sequence in a believable and interesting way. While it might not be the prettiest fight, the choreography and choices in the animation sequences are what make this entry quite good. Animated by Yoshitaka Yashima, we see some interesting aerial animation and some moves we hadn't seen in so long. Laser beam eyes, the after image technique, stretchy green arms. It was an instant reminder of how cool it was for this tournament to not be a Saiyan fest. Frost does go on to cheat to gain the upper hand, but this led to this moment which was just for me. I see this scene getting a lot of flack, but I loved it. Number 8. The filler with flair. For our 8th position in this list, we are taking a break from the tournament to see some nice slice of life stuff. You know, Bulma calling her sister, who is suddenly a thing, an alien on vacation, and a deity from another universe making burger stands with his blue attendant. You know, typical stuff. These 3 moments from episode 29 had some nice little caveats when it came to animation, I think. Osamu Ishikawa was the animation supervisor for this episode, which featured this. Jaco's spaceship seems to get some nice treatment here too, with this nice smoke trail and takeoff. It's both clean and smooth. For me, it was one of many indications that this arc looked much more polished than its predecessors. And then there was this scene with Champa and Vados. Short but nice, this scene showcases some nice explosions. Number 7. Beerus and Champa meet. I think my favorite part of Dragon Ball Super is the new cast of characters we have/are being introduced to. Beerus, Champa, Whis, and Vados are some of my favorite characters from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super combined. Vados, however, has a special place in my heart. The amount of shit talk she throws at Champa is hysterical. I'd like to put forward a formal proposal for Vados as Dragon Ball's best girl. Vote in the comment section down below, #BestGirlVados. And with these new characters being introduced to the main series plot, it was great to see them do it with some great animation. The animation was supervised by the talented Yoshitaka Yashima and featured some great dust clouds and explosions from these two explosive personalities. We also got to see some interesting silhouette animation too. It's a fun scene made better with some great animation and snark from Vados, but mostly animation. Number 6. Vegeta and Goku versus Hit. No, not this scene, this scene. Keep your pants on. Animated by Naoki Tate, this scene features some of the great artwork we have come to expect from Tate. And it featured possibly the best looking Super Saiyan Blue power-up for Vegeta in the series so far. I didn't much care for this one. Although this scene did have moments that I didn't care for, primarily this exchange featured great new angles we aren't used to seeing, and these over-the-top facial expressions Naoki is slowly becoming famous for. The same can be said for Goku's portion of this episode. Interesting, fun action sequences with simple to understand objectives are the key to why this episode was so successful, I think. The objective being, land a hit on Hit! Man, I had never been so invested in a scene before. As is always the case with Tate's work, the movements are fluid and full of personality. Energy surges through this man's pen in a way that is unpredictable and unique. Certainly his biggest strengths. Number 5. Jaco takes out Burpman. One can find greatness in the most unlikely of places. Just look at this design. It's spectacular. In this episode, which was created exclusively for exposition, how about them Super Dragon Balls, eh? We find ourselves following Jaco and Bulma as they venture in search of information regarding the Super Dragon Balls. This leads them to a person called Zuno, who knows everything. And if that isn't the most lazy plot device, I don't know what is. They venture to his lovely abode only to find that a convict that the Galactic Patrol are looking for is there. Jaco, being a Galactic Patrolman, is forced to intervene, and I have to say, is fucking awesome. This was one of those episodes where I was kind of half watching, but as soon as that happened, I just stopped everything and gave the remainder of the show my undivided attention. Which I'm sure was the desired result, seeing as all the information regarding the Super Dragon Balls was vomited onto the screen thereafter. You got me, Toei. You got me. Number 4. Jaco, the expressive one. In the world of animation, scenes of action and violence aren't the only times animation can shine. It can help, yes, but they aren't necessary. Some of my favorite kinds of animation come from expression and the conveyance of emotion. Getting a character over in a short amount of time is the mark of a great animator. This scene doesn't feature a punch, it doesn't contain a beam or a flicker from a transformation. This is simply Jaco talking to the camera, and Naoki Tate made this visually stunning somehow. Booming with personality and energy, Jaco leaps through our screens in this moment, and although brief, it was yet another time in this show where Naoki Tate demonstrated his skills as an animation marvel. Number 3. Vegeta's Gallic Gun and Final Flash. Now that we're at the business end of the list, coming in at number 3 is the Nostalgia Express. Featured in episode 36, we see Vegeta having difficulty putting Vegeta away. Running out of air, space, and options, Vegeta puts his hands into this position. And we all know what this means. The Gallic Gun. Now, I have to admit, upon seeing this pose, I had my reservations about whether or not Toei could in fact pull off one of the most iconic beams Vegeta has. I had flashbacks to Vegeta's confrontation with Beerus in episode 8. I just didn't want it to be another lifeless effort from Vegeta. Woo! But man, I wasn't in the least bit disappointed with this one. Swooping from his eyes through his scream to wide-angle view, this was a gorgeous shot of the Saiyan Prince. Building from that moment comes this blast from the past. Finally, we see the Final Flash return. And holy hell does it come back in a big way. The electricity for me was the highlight of this sequence. Cutting through the arena like a hot knife through butter, Vegeta powers up his ultimate attack as lightning envelops the empty world. It was animated by one of the best animators in Toei today, Mr. Mishahiro Shimanuki. The colors, fantastic. The character models, impeccable. The animation, exciting. This was a spectacular scene amidst a thrilling battle, deserving of its place as my number 3. Number 2. The Universe 6 Arc intro sequence. Falling short of our number 1 spot comes this snippet from the intro sequence of the Universe 6 Arc. Animated by Ken Otsuka, this is action animation at its finest, encapsulating perfectly the ride we are about to go on with this arc. Not once did it ever fail to get me pumped up for this tournament. Brimming with power and energy, this intro sequence featured every member of the Universe 6 team culminating with this gentleman. For me, this unveiling had me eager to learn more about this mysterious Hit character. Little did I know what was awaiting for me once this arc's final match between Hit and Goku began. Not counting, of course, Monaka's fight with Hit. Because let's be real, it wasn't really a fight. Hit never stood a chance. Now, on to the main event. Number 1. Kaioken times 10. This moment was special. Many of you probably don't know this, but I'm actually from Ireland, and as a result need to stay up until 1 AM in order to watch Dragon Ball Super live. The scene in question began with Goku describing this technique he had been perfecting for his next clash with Beerus. As he goes on to describe it, I start getting a suspicion, but I don't think anything of it. Then it happens. The Super Saiyan Blue aura becomes shrouded in a familiar fiery red light as Goku exclaims Kaioken. Lying in my bed, my eyes widened as I listened and watched on as my favorite move in Dragon Ball history had finally made a return to the silver screen. Goku explains that the only reason he was able to use this move in the first place was due to Super Saiyan Blue's ki control, as opposed to regular Super Saiyan, which would have almost certainly torn his body into pieces when coupled with the Kaioken. This moment was amazing, and the best part was, it made complete sense! But this scene wasn't done yet. Oh no, not by a long shot. Goku begins to power up. Hit, astonished at what he is seeing, comments on how much more powerful Goku is becoming. 2 times stronger, 3 times he says, until Goku finally screams, times 10. Goku himself, the arena, and the whole screen glow a powerful red as the intensity of the scene is increased. Goku explodes forward with a gorgeous punch that ends in slow motion. Upon contact, the intro music, Chaoso Dynamic, begins to play to add to the hype train. Goku meets Hit with a flurry of punches and kicks, before ultimately outpacing his time skip. As Hit flies upward, Goku's aura pulsates as he soars through the air. He realizes he doesn't have much time left, so he channels all his power into an enormous Kamehameha to cap off the episode. Animated by Tadayoshi Yamamuro and Ken Otsuka, this scene really rejuvenated Dragon Ball Super for a lot of people, and for many is the mark of when Dragon Ball Super really kicked it up a notch, and I do not disagree with that sentiment in the slightest. This scene was nothing short of amazing in my opinion, and stands up to tons of Dragon Ball Z's very best. This is a scene still talked about today, and I'm sure it will be for many more years to come. In that moment, as I was lying in bed, I got goosebumps and my eyes widened as I watched this match unfold. I didn't see it coming. It ended the tournament with a bang and was for me the very best moment of the entire Universe 6 arc and the series up until this point. But little did we know what was in store for us next. If you guys would like to see more top 10s and analysis, subscribe to be the first to know when I release a new video. Also, don't forget to leave a comment on what your favorite moments are. I'd love to read them. I've been Totally Not Mark, and this has been the 10 best animated moments of Dragon Ball Super's Universe 6 arc. Thank you so much for watching.